Bailey believed that it was very important to understand the Middle Eastern culture as it existed in Jesus' time in order to reinterpret his parables according to that culture. The question is, how do you get at that culture? And Bailey approached it initially by just spending time in traditional village cultures in Upper Egypt. But he left Egypt in 1965, and how could he continue to explore that traditional culture? Well, he did his best while living in Lebanon to explore traditional cultures. As he did in Upper Egypt, he was often in the pulpit and visiting churches every Sunday in very traditional settings. But he found another avenue into understanding the early cultures, and that is the translations of the Bible that we have from the early church through the medieval period from the Middle East. Scholars have traditionally disparaged many of these translations because they see them as very poor translations. They would be something like the Living Bible today. They're not careful translations. They're almost interpretations of the Bible. But for Bailey, that was a great advantage, because if you're reading something from, say, the 8th or 9th century, that's a kind of Living Bible version written in Arabic, that's telling you what that person thinks about what was happening in the 1st century through the lens that he had of traditional village life in his own period. So one way that Bailey wanted to get at the culture of the 1st century was in collecting manuscripts, primarily translations of the Bible in Arabic and in Syriac, and studying those carefully for the insights that they would give us into traditional culture. As early as 1974, while he was living in Beirut, he formed an organization that would collect and preserve and translate these manuscripts for the modern world. And as late as the 2000s, Bailey was working with the Evangelical Theological Seminary in Cairo to found a new organization, the Center for Middle Eastern Christianity in Cairo, associated with the seminary, that would collect and interpret and translate these traditional manuscripts so that the whole world could have them. The church history has a field of study called patristics, that is the study of the fathers. And what they mean by that is, for the first 1,000 years or so of church history, the fathers of the church wrote a great many things, and these have been collected in various forms and made available to the world in various languages, certainly in English. They're usually divided between the Greek fathers and the Latin fathers. Sometimes Bailey referred to Eastern patristics, and that way he could include the Syriac church fathers from the Middle East. But what's missing from this are the Arabic church fathers. And so Bailey wanted to establish a new field of study that he called Arabic patristics. Between roughly the years 900 and 1300, the Christian scholars living in Cairo were busy translating their traditional Coptic Christian literature into Arabic. So we have this huge treasure trove of information about the early church in an Arabic form in this period. The 13th century then becomes the what's called the Coptic Renaissance period, because it's in this period that the scholars really reach their height in writing theology and church history and canon law and all these various fields that they've been working on for hundreds of years. And then, because of persecution and other things, the church in Egypt falls silent for 600 years. But this golden age, this period from 900 and 1300, has produced all of these documents which remain. The problem is they don't remain for us. They're not available to us in general in the West. And they're also fairly difficult to obtain even for people for whom Arabic is their first language. And so Bailey helped to form these organizations and promote organizations which would collect these manuscripts, translate them, publish them, make them available to the world, so that we would have this new field of study called Arabic patristics. And through this field, we would then be able to look back through the lens that field provides to rediscover the Middle Eastern culture of Palestinian peasants at the time of Jesus, so that we can reinterpret the parables, the sayings, the teachings of Jesus.